Hello world, you can call me Dr. Mercury. Why doctor? Well, that's actually my job. I'm a first-year resident in neurology. I'm freshly graduated from med school, and today I'm posting my very own first YouTube video. YouTube actually was a special place for me. It represented a great retreat for, if you want to get a bit more poetic, for the void of silence that I sometimes felt during the long med school, university years. This feels a lot like coming home, only this time from a different perspective, that of a content creator, even if it's for the very first time as such. Judging by my looks, you can probably tell I'm not that old, but I'm not that young either. I'm saying that because YouTubers these days start a lot earlier than I am. That begs the question, why start a channel now, even though the idea had been in my own mind a long time ago? It feels like I'm at a threshold right now, between adulthood on one part and childhood on the other. Childhood, I'd say, was represented by my studenthood, the burden of endless exams but no real responsibilities. And adulthood is now represented by the career as a doctor and all the real responsibilities, the grueling tasks that my hospital sometimes requires, and a lot of important decisions, even though making those decisions is not really in my full control yet. Why should you watch my content? I invite you to take my first steps together with me in the new life that I'm about to begin, so that we can create this place, this channel, and view it as a growing pot, as a training area, if you will. So what can you expect from this channel? As a newly appointed doctor, I'm not yet as rigid as many of my fellow colleagues, and I'm still quite enthusiastic about what the future holds. Let's see my invitation to you as a blank page. A blank page is never dull, in my opinion, because it's full of endless possibilities awaiting someone's fresh imagination. And I know that I possess that kind of imagination. I just haven't had the opportunity to express it in the last years, with the pandemic and also with a really tough exam that I had to undertake in order to become a doctor. See it as a new adventure, a place of learning, with a lot of questions asked and hopefully a good part of them answered. I want to try to abstain from all the ways of presenting a subject as read from a textbook. I want to touch those medical issues from the patient's perspective, that of someone who has never really been in contact, up until that point, with science and the doctor's opinion. I want to see it all as seeing the path the patient undertakes when he first meets the doctor. What's the real life implication of this encounter? And what I, as a doctor, have learned from it. How it changed me and my future interactions from this moment forth. Starting with a life lesson, I want to treat that life lesson as something that can be understood by everyone watching. And I want to start to slowly pull the thread of that particular patient's case into more scientific endeavors. The clinical presentation, the physiopathological explanation behind it, how we can interpret this using the modern investigation methods that we as neurologists require in a great amount. And maybe even talk a bit about the treatment options. Most of all, I want to meet, through this experience, like-minded people. I think of forming a community in this time as a much needed action. With the pandemic looming over us all, and the feeling of loneliness and confusion, maybe even anger about the things that are happening around us, threatening to overwhelm our very being, I want to create a comfort place of learning and maybe even understanding each other, understanding the patient's feelings, and trying to do our best from the other end of the spectrum, that of a doctor. As to not end on a sad note, I invite you all to subscribe if you feel the promised content would interest you, and join me as I take my very first steps, both as a content creator and that of a neurologist. Thank you.